Greetings, thanks for tuning in. Today is January 22nd, Tuesday, and this is your episode of Survival, Information, and Motivation. So let's jump right into it. There's a deep freeze going around the U.S. right now. So people are freezing. There's many accidents, and let's not forget about the homeless. Sometimes they're able to make it to a shelter, sometimes they can't. But I can tell you from working retail and when I was younger, I got to meet a lot of homeless people. I used to work around in Penn Station, actually, by the LIRR. And those people, they'll last. They know how to survive. I remember going back 5 years later, they still look the same. I went back 10 years later, still people looking the same. You get to know them. People are people. Those are homeless people. I think we should help find a better solution to that as well. But next thing with the deep freeze, are you ready? I know last year we went away, came back home, and there was no heat. And it just got cold down here in Virginia. Really cold. So it was about 3 days with no heat. Fortunately, we had enough money. We was able to go buy 2 space heaters. Somebody gave us a space heater as well. And we had some logs for the fireplace. But if not, I don't know quite what we would have did. So lesson is always have a little extra cash on hand. Cash, not just credit card, because power is not always going to be available. So always make sure you have a little cash on hand. And right now is actually a good time to buy different winter items, whether if you just want to buy some clothes, maybe some heaters, whatever it is, because they want to get rid of it so they can get into the spring and summer stuff. So look it up, check out those sales, check out those deals, and you kind of got to be on a mission for it. If you have it in the back of your head, it probably won't, but you put that on your list, get some items and get a good price for them. 28 billionaires have as much wealth as 5.8 billion people. Right, let that soak in. 28 billionaires, 28 people has as much money as 5.8 billion people. Doesn't make sense, does it? Now, I'm not saying everybody should share all around the board, but you know, with a lot of shady practices, evil practices, I should say, especially when you talk about big pharmaceutical companies, it just makes no sense. But you know what? What it boils down to is, mentality. Some people are taught certain things from a young age and they stick to it, and some grow in poverty and stay in poverty. But it's kind of like a video game. If you have a video game and you have a cheat code for it, you're going to get further faster than the other guy that doesn't have a cheat code. Now, don't get me wrong, there will be some guys that could just figure out the game and boom, 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 and could get to the same level. For the most part, if you got a cheat code, you're probably going to get faster. You're going to get by faster and to a higher level. And that's what some of these rich folks have, and they pass it on to their family members. So it's not that poor people are dumb or lazy, but they just don't have the cheat codes like the rich do. Next, yesterday was Martin Luther King holiday. I think now, as time progresses, people tend to forget who our heroes are, or people redefine what a hero is. Because actually, Martin Luther King was labeled a terrorist in the early days. And after he was killed, assassinated, murdered, then he became a hero. And I think they liked him because he was talking about nonviolence. So it was like, yeah, you can let them protest as long as it's nonviolence. But then when he started talking about economics and, really empowering the people, then around that time they decided it was time to get rid of him. And it's not that long that this country was segregated, which I think most people kind of forget, where if you was one color, you could not go in the restroom or bathroom or pool. It was segregated. You could not do certain things. You could not eat at counters. And I think that kind of got not brushed under the rug, but since this happens, the more time that passes, the less I think people tend to care, especially the younger generation. The older generation that lived it will never forget it. But, that's where we are. And today is day 31 of the shutdown. Trump said he was going to, he proposed something to the Democrats, and they was like, nah, not going to happen. So we're on day 31 now. Over 800,000 government workers still affected. I think they said this Friday is going to be the second paycheck people miss. Just keep in mind, some people really live paycheck to paycheck. Paycheck to paycheck, meaning when this check comes in, they're going to buy gas, and that's supposed to last for the next week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. And some people are calling out from work just because they can't. Terminals are being closed at the airports just because they can't. And they still can't come to a resolution, but they're still getting their checks. It just doesn't add up. I don't fall into that whole I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, and all that foolishness. Nah, I'm just a person. And if we had maybe a one-party government when people just represented for who they are as people, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation. Maybe if we didn't let the pharmaceutical companies and all these other big corporations buy influence in our governments and decisions and laws, we'd probably be in a better place. But hey, what do I know? I've been speaking a little too long. Thanks for tuning in. Freedom forever, create and conquer. We out.